Alright, you guys, it is your boy Tigu back once again. It has been quite a while since we've done one of these, so I'm just got the camera rolling and we're just gonna see where it goes. But basically, I have like a bunch of video clips that I took recently, training video clips, that I want to upload. But then this past week, these past 7 days, I'm gonna give you a little update because these past 7 days, today is the end of the week. It's Sunday. Well, technically it's Monday morning now, you know what I'm saying? But basically on Sunday, for those of you who don't know, by the way, I'm not like an actual fitness is not my job or anything like that. I just it's a lifestyle, a hobby, a passion, But my full-time job is I am a chef. I'm a small business owner chef, if that's the title, I guess. Chef, owner of a small business. Yeah. Anyways, so we had an event this last basically Sunday and Saturday, and it's for the Lunar New Year Festival. For those of you who are culturally aware, Lunar New Year Festival season is upon us, and that means there's a bunch of festivals going on. So of course they'll hit me up, and so I was like, all right, fine, I will do the festival on Saturday selling food, because I typically don't like to do festivals because it's very stressful. I have to do all the food prep myself. We're doing like 200 servings. My style of food is very labor intensive, and we can't pump and dump. It's not the fast food, it's an experience, it's authentic, whatever. Anyways, this might be a long video, guys, so strap yourselves in. Anyways, and then Sunday, which was yesterday, I had a performance. For those of you who may or may not know, I do the Diablo performance. It's originally it's like a Chinese thing, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, I kind of only perform like once a year nowadays, so it's like I have to practice to get into it. Anyways, point is, all right, where do I begin? So after I finished my performance yesterday, Sunday night, with all the adrenaline and anticipation that had built up, it finally being over, the end of the week, now I am just physically and emotionally exhausted. So last Sunday, not this Sunday, this Sunday was like yesterday. Last Sunday, this is a total life update, kind of what's been going on thing, by the way. So if you're not interested, last Sunday, basically things have been going very great in terms of training and everything. It's just unbelievable. My physique is changing pretty, I'd say rapidly, but it probably isn't. It's probably an illusion. But it's I'm learning new. And this past year, I learned so many things about training, and then even now, I'm learning things, and just being able to apply it. It's crazy. Just these changes in the gym in terms of training has just made such a big difference. Whatever. So I've been making great progress. Weights have been going up and everything. So things were going great. Then on last Sunday, that was the day after one of my pop-up events. So it was extremely busy, and typically, things have been going so well recently that I have actually been going to the gym in the morning before doing pop-ups. Normally I never do that because it's just so exhausting, so physically exhausting and socially exhausting, because at a pop-up, event, you have to talk to every single customer that comes to you, right? And try to leave them with a pleasant experience. Well, I'm not naturally extroverted like that. I can talk to this because it's a camera. I can talk to you guys because you're not right in front of me, and it's more of an intimate setting anyways. So it just leaves me socially exhausted. If it's my social battery is just on E. If it's a really busy day at a pop-up, and it was freaking busy as hell, and I worked out in the morning. I trained in the morning, so when I woke up on Sunday, have any of you guys experienced where you wake up and you're so fatigued that you just feel depressed for no reason? And you just know today is just not the day. I need to just get through today so that I can feel better tomorrow, because today there's nothing that can go well no matter what I do. And this is not like some crazy experience that I've never had before. Like, I know this feeling because I've had it before. And it usually comes after a very, very busy pop-up day. I'll just be physically exhausted, social batteries on E, and I'm like pretty zombie moding. I just feel depressed, like for no reason. And I'm just zombie mode. But it's fine because I'll just keep to myself, do what I need to do that day, and then like eat, recover. And the next day I'm better again. So on Sunday I was feeling like that. But as I described earlier at the beginning of this video, I had a big festival this weekend. So I was already extremely fatigued, just physically exhausted, social battery needs to be recharged. But then I thought about all the preparations, all those food preps that I need to do, and practicing for this performance, and then for the upcoming weekend. And I just, on top of the fatigue, I just freaking put a heavy layer of mental stress on myself. I'm gonna give you guys a whole timeline for those of you who are curious about what's going on with your boy. And so basically, I'm in a pretty vulnerable state, if you will. Now, when I was in college, I used to get pretty damn anxious, and not like normal anxious, because there's normal anxiety where you feel a little bit like, oh, okay, and then you're just like, all right, cool, we're good. Like in college, I used to get the anxiety where I could not eat, and sleeping sucked too. So basically, on Sunday, after all that, then the anxiety hit me. Something set off my anxiety, and it was that freaking crippling anxiety where my appetite just is gone. Sleep is terrible. But I was still trying to do everything I needed to do. So I was still training. I was still practicing for my performance and trying to get some food prep done. So for like 3 days, I burned almost 4K calories every day, but I couldn't eat because my appetite was gone because I had this massive anxiety. I don't know if you would call it an anxiety attack because it wasn't like just one moment. It was just like constantly there. And the thing is when it's there, you just have this, your brain is on a non-stop loop between irrational and rational thoughts. Like, even if you know what's rational, like I'm having these thoughts and I'm like, those are not rational thoughts, and I know this, but it doesn't matter because even though I know what the rational thoughts are, because I'm in that super high anxiety state, it's as if, like, if I were to describe it imagery to you, there's like this like light, right? That's the rational truth, the reality or whatever. And there's just like this swirling black fog all around it that's just blocking, obscuring your vision. And so you just can't focus on what's actually there, and you're just having these thoughts running around your head in circles and circles. And so that's exhausting on its own, So that was going on, and I knew I needed to eat, and I would try to eat, but I'd be like, at the end of the day, I'd be like 1,500 calories under. That's not good, right? You're going to feel like crap the next day. I knew that. So I'd stay up until like 5 a.m. And at this time, I was going to sleep at like around 1 a.m. normally. But I stay up till 5 a.m. just to get another, meal, just so I could get a little closer. But I still ended up being like 800 to 1,000 calories under those days. And my sleep was trash because I was freaking anxious. And so that lasted until the end of Tuesday, basically. And like one thing that definitely helped is just during that time, I talked to a lot of my close friends, and just being like, yo, can you guys like just freaking speak some sense into me? Like just tell me that these dumbass thoughts are irrational just because I like am too effed up right now to be able to like accept it or see it or whatever. And so they're like, yeah, like it's just for, even if it was just temporarily, it would at least like put me in the right direction a little bit, and so like for that, super thankful to have friends like that in my life, because not everybody has that. And I think it's like so important to have people like that in your life because, things can get really sketchy and get lost if you don't have people like that around, you know what I mean? If you don't have people you can talk to and be honest with, because you have friends. Everyone's got friends, but you don't feel like you can completely open it. You still put on a little bit of a facade, if you know what I mean. Like you don't want to seem like a complete whatever to them, so you not completely honest to them. But it's like if you have those friends that you can just be 100% honest with, and you're just not ashamed. So that helps. That helps a lot. But anyways, so then during those days where my appetite was sucking, my training was suffering as well. I used to have, before this, I had such an intense focus in the gym and intensity as well. Like my focus was absolute and my intensity was good, and it was just so enjoyable. Like every day I looked forward to going to the gym and training. And during these couple of days, it was really hard to actually focus. And noticeably, my strength and performance was suffering as well, which is very annoying to me. I freaking bench the 105s on dumbbell bench, the way I do it anyways. I dumbbell bench 105 for 8, and that was like on a random day. Like I normally do 100s, but I did 105 that day. I was like, whoa. And when I tried 105s on these days, I couldn't get it, and it was freaking frustrating. And it was like, and I could tell it was just like because I'm not eating, lacking sleep, and so it was really effing with me. It's just that was so mentally exhausting, just having your brain just nonstop running around all day, you know. But anyways, then Tuesday night, went to sleep. Wednesday woke up, and finally on Wednesday it went away. That was probably the first day where like part of my appetite came back. I was actually able to eat what I need to eat. Granted, it just took a really long time because it wasn't completely back. But yeah, that was the first day where I was like, okay, like we're starting to get out of this weird, negative, anxious headspace, you know, finally. So things kind of spiraled, things kind of got out of control because it started with just being fatigued, but then it added the mental stress and then the anxiety. So then things got bad. And yeah, so things were getting better. Wednesday, Thursday, that's when my appetite completely returned. I think I went to the gym with maybe Eli that day or something. I can't remember exactly the timeline there. But yeah, there's like things were starting to get better. And I felt like pretty decent now, finally. Felt like pretty positive actually. And for just Friday, like 3 days ago or 2 days ago. Now it's 3 because now it's Monday. But Friday, it's like that was the first time it just seemed like it was such a long time. It felt like it'd been so long, which is crazy. Because I'm now thinking about it, I'm like, this all happened within the span of a week. But Friday, finally, it was the first time that I was solo in the gym and that focus was there and the intensity was there. And I finally felt like, that enjoyment of being in the gym training again, which I was like, you know, that's such a, it's like such a balance point for me, you know, to feel that way. And when it's just completely gone, it just kind of sucked. I was like, on top of everything else, you know, it's like, if anything, I want that to at least remain constant, but even that got effed up, you know? So that was good. It was good, you know? And then, but that was Friday night. Saturday, I was doing the food stand at the festival. So I had to prepare all the food, the 200 servings of food by myself. You know, that's normal, but it's still like a lot, you know? And then Saturday, we did the food festival event. I had the two people that I always bring with me to festivals. And it was crazy, y'all. Like, it was like 8 hours nonstop of doing these, like making these noodles on the spot for people. And the only breaks was when I really needed to use the restroom. I just run to the restroom, take a piss, and come back. But it was like 8 hours, 7.5 to 8 hours nonstop of it. No meals. And by the end of it, we were all dead. All 3 of us were dead. But I was Like, that was so physically exhausting, but I was so proud of us because we destroyed our old sales record. Festivals is where you're going to sell the most, your sales are going to be the highest. And we went a little over 1.5 times our highest sales ever at a festival, which is insane. So glad to have those two with me to join me on the festivals. So that was super cool. But anyways, that was Saturday, right? Exhausted. I burned 5K calories. That's just to show you how exhausting. There was no gym that day. It was just doing the food thing. And by the way, I only got 2.5 hours of sleep because I just stay up trying to food prep and eat the calories that I needed to eat the previous day, because I burned like 4K the previous day. So I burned 5K. There was no I was eating 5K after the festival. There's not enough hours. And then I had to get up on Sunday morning, which is yesterday, to practice to warm up for the performance. But I felt tired. Like, I woke up, no grip strength. I've heard that a sign of physical fatigue, like you actually just need to rest and recover your body, is when you wake up and your hands, like, you feel there's a lack of grip strength. That's how I felt. And I was extremely groggy. But anyways, I had been like hyping this up for myself for like a whole month. I'd been practicing for over a month and like hyping the whole thing up for this whole time, the performance, So it's like, okay, today's the day. It's the day to show off, what we've been practicing for, basically, because practice has been going very well up until the last day, actually. But so anyways, I took myself to the event site, and the first performance was on this stage, right? The stage looked pretty cool, but once I stepped on stage, I realized this freaking thing is tiny. It's shallow, it's narrow, and what I'm doing is dangerous. And I did not want to hit the LED screen behind me because I was like, that's probably expensive. We probably don't want to do that. So, but, actually, the performance was pretty perfect. It was pretty good, pretty perfect, up until the very last part, which is the part where there's most risk of hitting the LED screen behind me. So I was trying to be cautious, to not damage the stage, and I made some mistakes at the end, which really got under my skin because the ending of my performance is the part that I'm the best at. And I just completely messed it up, and so it pissed me off. So I was paid to do that one performance, right? That's what I was like contracted for. And so, I could have just left, but I was not happy with that. And honestly, it just would have been so freaking deflating to have this like emotional roller coaster of a week and then just have this disappointing performance, So I actually called up the organizer of the event right there, and I was like, yo, if you can like get some space ground level, then I'm down to do it again free of charge. And so we did that, and it was like people were gathered around in a circle, it was much more street performance style, which I find very fun anyways. And the second performance, impromptu second performance, was almost perfect, and the ending was great. I was so freaking happy. You can see it, like, not only happy, like I was happy that the performance went well, sure, but I was also relieved. Because just after this crazy week, just with the mental shiz, emotional shiz, whatever you call it, I just didn't want to end it like that. And so I was so happy and relieved that I could end it on this positive note, and all this anticipation I had been building for myself, I could kind of deliver on. So it was so nice to end it that way. But yeah, this week has been freaking crazy. I haven't had a week like this, or I haven't felt like this feeling like in a long time. I can't even remember when the last time was. So it's very different for me. And by the way, the only reason I'm even talking about this is just if people who used to follow the channel from a long time ago in Japan know that a big part of my whole thing was that I was always delivering, like talking about my thoughts and how I'm thinking through things, because a big part of me living life is living life that will make me the most content, make me the most happy, without having regrets, you know? And that's different from person to person. Some people, you know, for that, that's just like, you know, having material things or having money or whatever. That's not it for me. If I want to live a happy life, then I need to be able to like myself, to be happy and proud of who I am as a person, you know, not what I have as a person. And so that means I need to really understand myself. And to do that, you have to do a lot of introspection. So you got to be honest with yourself, you know? So that was a big part of my whole Japan journey. And that like, even just that time in Japan, it really changed me as a person, you know? And so it's kind of like, this is like finally a time where I had to do that again. Positive in the end, but definitely it was a rough week to start. And like I said, once again, I gotta reiterate, I can't believe this was all within a week. It feels like it was over the span of like 2 or 3 weeks, and it was just 1 week. Crazy. But yeah, that's what's been happening. Now it's time to get back on track. Well, we're kind of already back on track, but we'll see. And keep making improvements in the gym. Excited to be training again, like feeling good again, you know? But yeah, like I want to say that like social media, YouTube, Instagram, it's like, for me, it's always been a diary of sorts. Like I actually look back, especially recently, I had been looking back on my Instagram posts or whatever. You see so many, like, I'm looking back to when I was in Japan and doing all that stuff and like how I thought back then. So the social media is like it was really like a diary of sorts for me, you know, as well as a way to just share how I'm doing with my friends, family, or people who follow that just might actually care. Because, you know, there's not enough time to tell each and every individual person, like individually, directly, right? So it's kind of a way for me to do that, which means it's not just the highlights, even though that's what you may see or think or feel when you're just scrolling through Instagram. It just seems like a bunch of highlights, right? But that's not my purpose. I want to share my life, as I said, with everybody, but also just so I can look back myself and see where I was at certain parts of my life, because it's crazy to look back, you know? It's nice to have those things. And that means that there's going to be highlights, sure, but there's going to be a lot of normal stuff, you know, like just regular stuff, nothing crazy, nothing like not a highlight, just regular day-to-day, as well as low points. So this week we had some of those low points, but in the end, everything was good and it worked out. And just made me think again. It made me think about myself. All right, this got really freaking long, but yes, this was an update. I wanted to tell you guys about this crazy week, and then we can get back to, when I got time to edit these videos, some regular stuff. But yeah, guys, if you actually watch the whole way, I really appreciate it, because if you watch the whole thing, that means you actually care about how I'm doing, because this has just been about how I'm doing. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna end this one now, because I just freaking talked for like almost a half an hour. We're gonna be cutting a lot. Hopefully we cut some of this out, because this is too long. But yeah, all right, guys, I will see you in the next one. Thanks if you watched this far. Peace.